So I think that one of the biggest things in my life that I've had to deal with over the years are feelings of inadequacy. And for the sake of more adjectives, this looming or low simmering sensation that I'm not good enough, or I'm not meeting the bar, or I'm not at the ideal point in my life with whatever I was doing. And that's an exhaustive feeling. The feeling that with whatever you do, you'll never be able to meet these expectations that you've set for yourself. And I would argue that I'm not at all an anomaly in that, where these feelings that I'm feeling are not at all my own, and other people also experience that. So with that said, I'd like today go over just some of my musings and thoughts on feelings of inadequacy, and potentially even a better perspective for dealing with those feelings. But to get into that, I'd like to talk about the two types of inadequacy that I've experienced: academic and social inadequacy. So with social inadequacy, I think now, especially now, with how integrated social media is into everything that we do, it's incredibly easy to start feeling feelings of social inadequacy, where at any point during the day, I could go on someone's Instagram page and go to their daily story. And on their daily story, I would be able to see how many cute exotic luncheons they've had with their friends this month, or where they were a year or 2 years ago at some amazing ski resort with all their friends and their family. And just with the way it's set up, it leads you to kind of this comparative mindset where you start looking at it and thinking, well, I haven't gone to many cute luncheons this month, or I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. at the start of every week to go watch the sunset with my friends, and it kind of paints this ideal social life where these events that you see on this person's page and on over social media, that is what a social person's life looks like. Or if you have a group of friends, these are the kind of things you're doing. You're taking cute pictures with your food and putting them on your page or stuff like that. And for someone like myself who has groups of friends in 3 different states and is able to talk to them every night and play games and laugh into the late hours of the early morning, I could even start comparing that to this and say, like, well, maybe I am missing out. Maybe I should be going to more cute luncheons, or doing all these other things with groups of people and posting it on social media. Like, it makes me feel like I'm kind of behind. And also leads to, it's called FOMO, but the fear of missing out, where it's this fear that if you don't go to every single social activity, you're potentially going to miss out on this one life-changing event that will just propel you forward in the social spectrum, making you a much more social person, or transforming you into this social butterfly that you want it to be, because those are just the set things that you're supposed to do. And the other kind of inadequacy that I've experienced is academic inadequacy. And I think that academic inadequacy is pretty difficult to deal with because it is a concrete, quantifiable, value for your time and effort, where all the hours that you spend studying, all the hours that you spend making study guides and rewatching lectures are put into points and percentages. And if you don't like those points and percentages, that can lead to quite a few problems. Problems of you constantly missing the mark that you have set for yourself. And you can do all this work, and no matter how you do on an assignment, you'll never truly be happy with what you're doing just because of your own expectations you have set. It can also lead you to comparing your own work to people in the class that are with you, where you could go on for a quiz one day and get a 65 with 6 hours of study, then a person with 30 minutes of review has managed to get an 85, and you feel almost cheated, where it's just like the amount of work that you're putting in does not at all equal what you're getting out. And no matter how you look at your work, it does not at all represent what you think you're putting in. You're never happy with what you're putting into your academics. So what do these inadequacies really do to us, or how do they affect us? I think one of the biggest things is you feel constantly unsatisfied, where, like I was saying, no matter what you do, you're going to be unsatisfied. No matter how you do on an assignment, no matter what or how many people you hang out with, you're going to feel unsatisfied. And from that, you can begin to feel unmotivated, where after countless attempts at doing better on a test or going out and doing something fun with people and not getting the, emotional response out of it that you wanted, you can just start feeling kind of depressed about it and, not wanting to keep trying, or just like there's no point to it anymore. And then you can just feel unhappy and just kind of have a lack of fulfillment, where you're no longer getting those dopamine hits from turning in an assignment and feeling good about what you're doing or thankful that it's over. You get kind of this added on dread that you just turned in an assignment that's going to drop you a few percent, and you're going to have to constantly check the grade book every few minutes just to see how poorly you did, and you're just in this constant loop. And what all of this comes down to, I think, is it has nothing to do with the work itself, and has nothing to do with the people you hang out with or the things you do. It really comes down to your own perspective and how you look at your own life. And to talk about perspective, I'd like to talk about Sadhguru, who was an Indian guru, where at a college auditorium, he was talking to a whole room of college students, and it was a Q&A where he was asked, how do you find success in life? And after talking a little bit about his life and his life experiences, he just kind of gave the answer that he's going to die a failure, but he can die a blissful failure. And what he was getting at with that is that, there's always going to be a perspective that he can take to look at his own life where he will, be deemed a failure, or he hasn't, done half the things he has set out to do in life, or even a quarter of the things he set out to do in life. And, he's just wasted his time. But, his point is that the perspective you take in life really is where you derive that, feeling of value and adequacy. So talking about that perception, feeling inadequate is based on our own perception and our own values. So how do we work on that perception and value? Well, first, I think it's important to stop looking at the world around you. Don't derive personal value and enjoyment out of, comparing yourself to other people. I think that we're all at different points in our life, and will always be at different points in our own personal journey. So I think it's foolish to compare yourself to someone else, because you're just neglecting your own progress that you're making, or where you are personally in life. And when it applies to academics, you have to ask yourself, where are you deriving these unheard of expectations for yourself? Where did you decide that you're going to start setting the bar at a certain level that you will never be able to reach, no matter how well you do on an assignment? It's all about changing your perspective and asking yourself why you've set these certain things for yourself. I think the key to it all is just do what makes you happy and appreciate your own journey. If we do make it a personal thing and make adequacy something that is personal and relates to our own journey, it shouldn't be something that we derive from other people's journey or the world around us or how we do on an assignment. It's how we look at our own life and our own progress through life and what we're doing. So as a final statement, I would just say that, don't let yourself be burdened by, and exhausted by this unheard of expectation that you've set for yourself, but be able to appreciate the journey you've taken so far in life, and be able to do what makes you happy without having to look at other people. Thank you very much for listening to my talk.
Very good. Very good. Well done.
Thank you.